September 19th is coming soon. It's just 10 days. Now, if the case gets solved there, the biggest question now would be like, can a bull market coincide with the XRP settlement and XRP join the bull market with all pace this wave to the upside? Now, there is no denying the fact that we have patterns which are breaking to the upside in multiple assets inside this asset class, and you see a lot happening. And if you look at the fundamental side of this, yes, you do see a possibility that the case is actually going to get solved. Now, worst case, it may still continue till next March, April. But if you are looking at what's happening right around you, you would more lean towards like, okay, I think there is going to be another big bull run coming in for crypto as things get worse. And at the same time, you may need something to actually readily manage your liquidity. And it actually seems like even banks don't hesitate to enter into the world of crypto. And if you look at DBS, they've been working with Ripple for some time and they are kind of crypto friendly. So when they get into this, that's when you actually see like, okay, people are entering the market. It's not only the crypto maxis, it's the banks, the traditional institutions. So the question of do they think this asset class is going much higher does not exist, because if they're putting their money in, they do believe that the price is going to go up. If you're selling, there can be a lot of different reasons, but if you're buying, the primary reason is you anticipate this to go up. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, when you actually see these numbers coming inside your asset class, don't be confused saying, okay, that was a surprise, because we've been talking about this. The market is actually turning. It's all happening. If you entered there, you are making profits. Now, it's in various different assets. If you were positioned well, you would actually get something which is good, because, we talked about this, saying the market is most likely going to bounce. And we just saw that it is bouncing through. It's breaking through the moving average. That's all good. That's all great. But the opportunities here cannot be denied. This is one of the assets which we were talking about. We were buying it at here, the support, and, the price actually broke higher. It went all the way up. Now, if you are in the market, you can really take benefit of these. When I buy trades, when I close trades, I'm actually posting all those in the alert groups. And if you are here in the market, what you really want to look at is like, okay, what can you look at? Fine. In terms of making profit. Great. Now when you actually come into the market, biggest question comes like, okay, which asset do I buy? And we actually started doing a weekly. And now one of the biggest advantage here is like, before I was a research professor, working full time and then managing my investments in crypto. But right now, I've resigned that job. I'm doing investments full time. I'm looking at investments, learning from investments. And when you actually look at this, some days we've been talking about this data in particular, and we've highlighted this. And if you remember, in last video, we talked about like, there is like a lot of money coming in to the USDT or stable coins, and it was not going into the fiat exchanges. Now, the USDT held, dropped, fine, and at the same time, the amount flowed into crypto exchanges was like 950 million. So in a billion, you actually saw majority entering into the market. Now, you can put your case there and say like, okay, you believe that it's going to drop, or you believe people are buying and it's going to go up. Because we actually talked about this before, right? Newly issued USDT in transit, and the last day is for 44.3 USD. Now in millions, when you actually look at that, that's the highest level. And you actually saw like, okay, this much amount was actually coming in. And we kind of talked about that new money is coming into the market, right? And then we actually see the market going up. Now, if you are here, what are you really looking at? You do understand the on-chain data, because that's going to help you. And now you are trying to look like, okay, individual assets, what's it actually doing? Is it more leaning towards the fiat exchanges where people are completely moving out, or they're moving into other assets? And we are observing things happening. Now, there are patterns which we actually observe. We kind of highlight that it's near a breakout, and we kind of show what's the reason there. And then you see that they break higher, and then you follow them and you see like, okay, they're going towards your target. So all you have to do is technical analysis, put your time in, learn your stuff, and then enter. Now the same stuff here for XRP, which is, we've been waiting for this from a long time. We need to break higher. It's like last 600 days we've been here, and if we manage to break higher here, that's going to change the direction of XRP. We are going to go higher. So if you are a fan of XRP, if you are in this asset, what you're looking at now is a short-term move. I completely agree on that point. But when you actually zoom out and look at this, there is a possibility you may get resisted at the 20-day moving average. But if you are able to break higher with an anticipation that the case is going to end, I'm like, okay, in a week, if we manage to come back higher at the top here, 0.4, 0.45, that range, and the SEC case gets solved, it's going to be running much, much higher than that, given that the market is now trending all the way back up. So when you actually look at the altcoin market, you see it's breaking higher, it's grinding higher. And we look at Ether, yes, it did this, it's going back higher. So when you actually understand that the market itself is now grinding high, and now what you actually want to look is, okay, can this continue? What way the odds of this is going to happen? Now we talked about the possibility of a double bottom when we were here, right? Now if we look at this, it kind of gives me more confidence to say like, okay, there is a huge possibility that we are literally making a double bottom here at a time when your RSI is actually showing you a bullish divergence on a weekly, and you are trying to break through this level. So I'm like, okay, that actually looks really good. If we are breaking higher, that means you're going to come back towards a retest, a potential great retest of the range 30,000. Now, yes, we are not talking about $1 million Bitcoin, but this move in Bitcoin should give further momentum for the altcoins. And you see this, like Bitcoin moves up, and at the same time, you see a lot of alts running crazy like these. You actually see a lot of movement inside the market. You want to pick one of them. Safety index should be considered, how tolerant you are with these risks. And once you understand that, create a matrix for you and understand like, okay, does that work well for you? Work it around and reach an area where you understand the risk and the asset you're entering in, and then you start to make more money. So here, when you look at these opportunities, what you should also understand is now it's not the Bitcoin dominance skyrocketing back up. There is completely a possibility where this is a fake out and Bitcoin dominance go back up. But as of now, it's not the case. So if you are looking at this range, we are still below this. We are coming from the bottom. When we were coming from the upside, we got this as a support. So when you're going from the downside, it's most likely going to be a resistance, given that your RSI is still below here and it's still trending lower. It's not actually going back up about this trend line. So that for me is like, okay, Bitcoin dominance broke lower and it's still there. It will do a retest. It's not big surprise for that. But if you see that the retest actually fails and it goes lower, now that's really good for the entire altcoin space. You're looking at the same in the altcoin space as well. You went up, now you're coming back down, and you see wild volatility to the up and downside. Usually that happens when there is a huge shift. And what is the shift? You've been doing this for a long time, and now the RSI indicates that you're going to the upside. So if that's the change, now what you're going to observe in the market is something which you cannot deny. Now, if we actually go into a 3-day chart for the same, you will notice that you're already here touching the area of overbought territory. And when you enter there and stay there for some time, it's not like, you need to stay there for years. It's just 90 to 100 days. If you're able to stay there close to that range, the price just skyrockets. So the dominance goes through the roof. Now, what you want to really look at is the altcoin market cap in general in the same perspective. You go to a 3-day chart and you're looking like, okay, what's the RSI doing? Do you remember what we talked in the last video? We're going to go up, break this, most likely you're going to retest and bounce. So that is what you are observing right now, in my humble opinion, that you came lower, you retested and you're bouncing. Now, given that the MACD is also bouncing, you'll see the volume remaining in positive and moving higher. So you can see a glimpse of that the MACD is bouncing. Now, that at a time when the RSI is retesting and bouncing and the moving average is being breached on a 3-day chart, I'm like, okay, that's really bullish, because whenever the price came lower, some guys bought it. Any amount sold into the market was absorbed and it's going back higher. Now, to get a clear picture, what you can actually do is zoom in. There's a daily chart, not 1 hour chart, and you're looking at this. Yes, you did move above. You came back retesting, kicked out a lot of guys who were highly leveraged or trailing stop losses were put in place. It was kicked out, and now you're slowly grinding back to the upside. Now, you can actually really go here, put it into the Heikin-Ashi chart and, stay back outside and look at this. Whenever you get the Heikin-Ashi chart, this is actually great to see, like, the price is moving above the 20-day moving average. The RSI is pointing you to the upside on a daily. And now, short term, right? What's going to happen? You go in here and you see like, okay, the RSI is slowing down. Still, the moving average is to the upside. So your short term move, there can be now. On a 4 hour, you are going to still continue higher. You're at this level, which you're going to break soon. But on a 1 hour, I think you have already corrected. Yeah, you did correct back to the moving average and you're trying to bounce. So you need to get through this range. So a short-term move should not actually surprise you when you actually have medium to long-term index. So when you are looking for XRP, we haven't actually changed to the green or upside bulls here, but you're still waiting for that. So most likely this week can close in green. That's like, okay, signaling the bears were little compared to the previous bulls. And when that happens, in terms of XRP, this is what you actually see. This was higher bull and lower bears. Then what happened? You started picking up and moving higher. And that's a weekly time frame. You need a lot of patience to actually go through the volatility, because in between, you actually get to see these kind of days where, the price goes up, down, and then you go higher. So if you actually, focus on that particular region on a 3-day chart and then a daily chart, you'll see, yes, you did come down to the moving average. And if you were scared and you moved out of the market, you missed the entire move to the upside. That happens in between. So if you're in the market and you have dry powder, this is like buying the dip close to the moving average. So it depends on your time frame as a trader or an investor. If you are on a daily, now you're going to see a lot of false breaks showing, okay, you broke the 20-day moving average, it's starting a downtrend. But if you were on a 3-day chart, it did not actually matter. You already knew like the trend is to the upside. It's actually following this trend line. So that's all great. You actually get to see the same stuff happening again and again. And most likely history is going to repeat itself. Now, the same stuff which you talked about Bitcoin, you're observing here in the altcoin market space. You got rejected, you came lower, now you're bouncing back up. So this is also another great indicator which we are looking at and waiting to see like whether we are going to break through. Because if we do, then we have a long way to go. Yes, the first resistance comes around here and you may get a little bit slowish, sluggish momentum there. But again, you may still continue back to the upside. Now, on the fundamental side of this, we've been following this from some time and now we are observing that this is coming lower at a time when your oil price is dropping. Now you broke this level, you retested that, got rejected. You broke this level, you're retesting this. We'll see whether it's going to get rejected or not, but most likely it's going to get rejected. If so, you are going to drop again. Now that for you and me as a normal human being buying groceries and all is going to be great because the price of oil is trending lower. And the dollar strength is slowing down. Now it can be short term. It may not be that long term reversal of dollar which you're talking about. because I think there is a ton of debt in the market, but still you are getting different type of stimulus in the market. I'm not saying, we are completely doing the quantitative tightening, even though you actually see a lot of stuff like this, because governments are trying to, balance this. But right now, the issue is not only in US, you see this happening everywhere. As the interest rates go up, you need to actually understand the macro scenario is a lot different. Say McKinsey actually highlight this. Depending on which country you are seeing some kind of increase in the interest rate. Some, like Argentina, is like 14%. And some, it's like 0.25, that's Malaysia. Now, what you have to understand is these economies who are pushing the interest rate little bit lesser than the US, they're going to get hit hard in the dollar index, meaning their currency is going to get devalued, and we are already observing that in a lot of different Asian currencies, because they cannot go hike a lot of in terms of the interest rates, because their market is so much in a bubble territory. If they actually push this a little bit higher, done. People may not be able to afford the mortgage, and at the same time, keep your mind focused on what's happening in terms of the government coming in and supporting. Like I actually went through and saw a couple of stuff where, it was like, you cannot increase your interest rate more, you cannot increase your rent more than 2%. And I'm like, okay, say you are a house owner. Great. And you pay your mortgage with the help of the rent payment coming in. Great. And what happens? The interest rate's going up, your payments, mortgage is actually going up, and you can't push your... Now, you don't actually have to put the entire burden on your renter, but you can share that, right? Because if not, imagine you're not paying the mortgage, you can't afford that. What happens next? It's not good for both the owner and the renter, right? Or else the banks should say, okay, we are saints, we are not going to take payments from you. If that's the case, it's an entirely different story, but I don't think history actually works that way. But if you are here in the market and you're observing that money is coming back into the space, and they definitely believe that this is kind of the bottom, you have one more opportunity where Bitcoin is actually going to do something in the market, and that's going to push the altcoins together for the wave 2. Now, market cycles and my explanations are different. My definition most likely goes with the textbooks. A lot of people will have different opinion. Now, that's all good. It's all great. When you are in the market, what you are looking at is the asset in which you are in, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 100, depending upon who you are. But if you understand the dynamics of the market, saying, okay, I'm reversing, you're actually waiting to see whether that breaks the short-term trend and starts a medium-term trend, which is a new trend to the upside. If you are able to see that, now things are changing. And we do know that there is only small duration here towards 19th, in which you actually get the Ether merge, you're going to get the CPI. There's a lot of macro coming in for the next few days. So be prepared for a lot of volatility. Make sure you are in trades, and if you are in, take your profits at the right time. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 30, maybe it's 40, but make sure when that asset reaches the bubble territory, whether it's in a short-term time scenario or long-term one, make sure you do take your profits at the measured move, because if you're observing this, you will also see like, okay, after we took the profits, the price is slowing down. And why is that? Now, even though the measured move is here, 27, the price slowed down at 16.5 instead of 16.7. Now, this is one of the points I always highlight in the one-on-one sessions. Exchanges are not charitable organizations. They only get the spread when you make a lot of profits, 30, 100, 10x, whatever you make, they get the spread. So as far as I understood, the algorithms don't work for you, it works for them. Or you can call it the whales manipulating before the measured move. Sometimes you go above that, sometimes you reverse just below that. That's why it's always important to take your profit. So if you look at this, you came close to 16.5 and you dropped. And if you look where we closed, we had a couple of them recently, and these were the sale prices. It was somewhat close to the top. So if you are there, always use your technical analysis to aid your trades, because otherwise, if you're completely fundamental, you cannot do this in the short term. You may have to go medium to long term and be a position trader where you buy undervalued assets. Now, if it's a stock, it's kind of comparatively easy. You are looking at their reports, or you look just easy stuff is like what you're going to look at is your interest rate expectation, their dividends, and you put it in the present value and say, okay, this should be the share price. And if it's below that, it's undervalued, fine. But in the crypto market, it does not work like that. And one of the biggest examples you can most likely see is this one. If you're looking at this is Sandbox, and now you come in the market to actually see like, okay, what Sandbox as a project is doing right now. You have seen a lot of meme coins pumping way higher than this, and you see such a project like this doing 6% when you get some kind of announcement like this. So the market is always irrational. So if you are looking at Sand right now, I would actually say this too. Keep in mind, it's inside this trend. It is showing you a bullish divergence. It is showing you it can go higher, but it is still below this major trend line. So that's where the fundamentals on your TA lines. You're fundamentally bullish. That's all good. That's all great. You can try, managing your timing. If you understand a breakout here is going to be what you need. Last time we tried that, we got small fake out and you came back lower. So if you are a great bull in this project and long term, you're just averaging down, right? But if you're trying to enter as a trade, you need more information, and that's what we actually do here. That's what we try to give you so that you know what to expect, right? Your measured move is this. What you're going to look at is something like this, blah, 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 right? So guys, if you want these kind of information in the market where we are reversing and all coins are going to do wonders, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. We are also doing a weekly of 25 assets from this week where you get it from above platinum tier. Now what it is like 25 assets, whether it's a buy, whether it's stay away or wait or buy the dips. Because not every asset, now literally I went through like 25 assets and I saw like only few were like, okay, buy, others were like, okay, buy the dips, couple of them. Rest was like, okay, move away, say no to them because it's trending down. Unless you see a reversal there, you cannot enter. You can enter, but if you have more time, 6 months, it's okay. You have more patience, that's fine. If you don't and you want to close your positions in 3 months time or a month time, then you will have to do this. Now, we've been testing this from some time and we've been refining the factors which we use for that metrics to enter and exit. It's working well for us. And now, yeah, if you are there saying, no, I'm looking for 400%, I'm looking for 4,000%, this is not the place. We're not playing with that amount of risk. We're not here to buy a Lambo. Great. We're trying to solve issues for people where cost of livings are going through the roof and even the electricity price seems to be crazy. So if that's what you're looking at, you're warm welcome. You can look at the link of Patreon in the link below. So that's it for today, guys. If you like the content, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want more information, always visit the channel and understand you have a lot more here. If you haven't watched the last 1 week's video, this is going to be a lot more in information. Just watch like 3 or 4 videos, the recent one, and we did highlight all this as a possibility and that didn't happen. So if you missed some of those parts and you're looking at the market, you may have some confusion. But if you are up to date, now that's great. You already know what's happening and you're mentally prepared for what's coming. So you won't be surprised for a big bull market happening in a short time span. That's it, guys. Bye-bye.